Welcome back to the channel, and oh boy, this one is shaping up to be a proper litmus test for both sides. Round 15, Saturday Arvo at the G. Carlton face the Mad Kangaroos. The Blues are floating into this weird middle patch of the season with a little bit of hope, a little bit of desperation, and a whole lot of angst. Desperate to prove they're not just AFL's one-quarter specialists, but are a bona fide top 8 side. Their slim hopes of finals football hang in the balance. Meanwhile, North, 16th on the ladder, but they're not playing like that recently. They've had some real close ones. It's almost like watching two people pretend to be mates at Big Brother. So can Carlton turn potential into performance? Can they find 4 quarters? And can North get that much-needed sugar hit and finally close the game out? This is going to be a big one at the G. A rare game at the G for Carlton and North Melbourne. You'd have to go down to Daniel Wells's 55-metre game winner almost 20 years ago since the last 2 times these two sides faced off at the home of football. Carlton are chasing relevance. North, they're chasing some reward for hard work. It's a class of contrasting pressures. The Blues are fighting to prove they belong in finals conversations. The Kangas, they're desperate to show that this rebuild is starting to bear fruit. Carlton once again flexed their potential in the opening term against the Eagles. They looked incredible in that first quarter, but then, as often is the case this year, they fell asleep. Carlton in first half are actually the second best side in the league. If the game ended at the second half, Carlton would be second behind Adelaide. They outscored and they then fumble the second halves against the bottom side, and that's the tale of the season. Flashes of brilliance, moments of panache, but drowned out in a wave of inconsistency. North Melbourne continue to show that they're not the same walkover as last season. Their game against Freo, they nearly bucked the trend. They fought, they pressed, they gained middle ascension, and for the 4 out of the 7 games, they have been decided under 2 goals. They're close. They're on the precipice. They just need to turn the corner. But unfortunately, in the AFL, close doesn't give you 4 points. This is what they're hunting now against a side that can implode under pressure. North have to bring it, and Carlton have to withstand it. Let's look at the season so far. Carlton are 10th with a win-loss of 6 and 7, winning 3 of their last 5, losing 2. They've got a real important 5-week block after this one ahead. They head over to the Port, then they've got the Pies, Lions, Demons and the Hawks. Carlton are teetering. Win here and they keep that finals door open. It's a brutal month. They need to pick up the wins where they're favourites. Carlton have to go 4 and 5 in this next 5-week block. North Melbourne, they're 16th, 3 wins, 1 solitary draw and 9 losses. 1 draw, 2 wins and 2 losses in their last 5. They've got the Hawks, the Dogs, the Demons, the Swans and the Cats coming up. They've got a real higgledy-piggledy draw in this next 6-week block. They need to get scalps. If they can get 2 or 3 wins for the rest of the season, it puts them in a good position for off-season and to bring in the recruitment they need of ready established players. Let's look at the tactics. Carlton's engine room has been good this year. They ranked 1st for contested possessions, 6th for clearances, 3rd for inside 50s generated. They get their hands first on it, but they can also drive it forward aggressively. But for all that dominance, that's where it all falls off a cliff. Ranked 18th for scoring efficiency and shots generated per inside 50. They just don't turn any on-field dominance into goals, and that kills you in this game. It's not a defence-first league anymore. It is an attack-first league. And in the last 5, we see things happen. There is some signs of improvement because they have played some weaker opposition. They rise to 6th for shots per inside 50 at 46.9%, but the scoring efficiency doesn't quite jump up. It's missed shots, it's poor positioning, and the turnover differential is now in the negative. Carlton put poor ball use as a paramount under late game sloppiness. For a team that has poor efficiency, they are one of the higher kicking sides, showcasing that their game style doesn't quite mirror the personnel that they've got. The tactical issues are obvious. The first halves are elite, but they fall away due to poor structure and also overexertion in trying to do the special things. The forward line becomes chaotic, and there is no clear structure in that second half. Too many high balls as they commit men behind the ball. They don't create enough separation. It's almost like watching two teams play the same game. Fixes really here are Carlton's forward line. They need to try and find a way of slowing the game down by creating more diagonal kicks, particularly from the 30-45 metre out from the 50. Use McGovern, who will be playing in this game, Charlie Kerner as dual forward targets, one forward, one high, one deep. This forces defence to split, and it will open up the corridor, which Carlton do kind of ignore in the second half. You can be safe and still aggressive. The ground level support needs to be better. For a team that does play a lot of time in the forward half of the ground, they need more from Zach Williams, Motlop and Fantasia. It's not always about marking, it's about creating contests and winning the spill, and structures with that entries in mind, particularly when Carlton go down the wing and slow the game down. There is no one at the fall of the ball, which just brings more pressure on your marking game, but also your turnover defence. And when Carlton are on top, they play like they're running downhill, but when the momentum swings, they don't have a gear. They're either quick or dead. Slow playing, kicking laterally and holding position. They need to learn a way of finding a way to stabilise games. They need to make sure players are running ahead of the ball, running into space, not standing still. And the midfield spread, when the Blues in the second half from the first, it's two different midfields. We see in the first halves, Adam Cherry is willing to spread, get the ball out wide, get the ball on the wing. Binns does a very good job of holding his whip. He did last week. He was almost unsighted in the second half as Cherry didn't look for that, and Carlton start giving their ball to more ball users who are a bit more panicky, Sam Doherty, players like that. Carlton have got to really make sure that if the ball spreads, you make it count and get it on the outside. North, they're starting to become a clearance machine this year. One of the best differentials in the league, and the contested possessions are where we'd expect. Everything else, though, screams red flags. They're not getting the ball inside 50 enough. 18 for intercepts, 18 for time in forward half. The midfield is really holding the house up as everyone else puts black gaffer tape on it. The last five, the clearance edge shows how strong they are. But again, they're not turning midfield dominance into forward half time. They're still bottom three. The intercept game appears and is very poor, meaning once the opposition gets past halfway, you're in trouble. How can they fix this? They need to ditch the overuse by hand, boost that kick to handball ratio, play a bit more direct, take a bit more risks, look for them aggressive switches, particularly on the open side where they have got some talent. Once the ball enters 50, their tackle numbers are insane, but they're not managing to set up at stoppage and really hold it in. They need more repeat efforts. They need to make sure that the midfield is pressing up higher up the ground to really lock that ball inside forward 50. And the backline exit strategy, once it comes under siege, no one is looking for them long, smart kicks. They're just trying to kick it long and get it out of there. They've got to get the ball in there, and maybe that's why Sheezer was playing half back. They need someone down there to almost act like a quarterback to really dictate the play. Far too often do they get caught in that kind of issue, and definitely lift that line. Their defensive structure under Clarkson this year has been incredibly deep. They pinch hit their wings back to almost play as extra halfbacks, and it really compresses the field when they do win the ball back. They need to create more intercept opportunities, play a little bit looser, and against Carlton, if you can ask that question, that is a real key component for them to success. The big questions of this game are, can the Blues finally stop the fade? Can they become at least a 3-quarter out of 4-quarter team? North, can they turn that midfield dominance into field position? And more importantly, goals. This is one that looks like a mid-table clash in the statistical variety, but it is really more important that a win here for North is huge for confidence. They knock off a team that most people had in the A at the start of the season, and they get some much-needed sustenance. For the Blues, it's again trying to work on this system, because if they play like they did against the Eagles in the second half, regardless of having a lead against the bigger teams, they will overrun you. This is about proving that both sides have a little bit of bite and aren't one-trick ponies. So here we are, two clubs at differing crossroads. Carlton have to prove they can put together a full performance and get some momentum going, because this season it will slam the finals door locked tight should they miss the 8. And North, they need to win. And this isn't about bravery. This is one that gives you some sustenance. Comment below who wins this battle of intent. A lot on the line for both sides. Can Carlton control that chaos and really start to find a way of holding a team off that is desperate to win? And can North cash in on their effort? If you enjoyed the breakdown, please chuck us a like and a subscribe. We'll be live for the watch-along. You've got us loads of times this week. A couple of times for the under-18 games on Sunday. You've got us twice on Saturday for the evening fixture and this game. And also tomorrow night, we are live for that. You don't want to miss it. Until then, stay safe. I've been PommyInOz. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy your weekend.
Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.